It is another start to my weekend. I just had dinner out with Donald, had a nice little date, and I think he's going to be gaming with his hometown friend, and I'm going to go ahead and get reading. So it's just nearly the end of March. It is the final weekend of it for sure. So I still have to finish City of Brass, which I only have like 50 pages left, and then I've completed my Tis the Damn Readathon TBR, all of the prompts. Super excited about it, but let me catch you up on how I feel about City of Brass. Great. That's it. That's the catch up. I will check in with you guys when I've done a little bit of reading, probably when I finish City of Brass. All right, this is gonna be take 2 of this. So it's just gone on past 9:30 and I just finished City of Brass, which officially completes all of my prompts for Tis the Damn Readathon. And it's March 27th and I was able to squeeze Words of Radiance in as well. So I'm just so happy with my reading this month. What can I say about this book? I absolutely loved it. I feel like this is gonna be a series that is gonna wind up in my top favorites for the year of 2021 already. Just the world is so unique. I haven't read a fantasy like this. It's just so unique and so interesting, and I loved all of the characters, and it was so multi-layered, all of the different intentions for all of the characters, even when it meant bad things for characters that you care about. They were just so well layered, and it's such a complicated situation that everybody's in that the author just did such a great job with this. So I'm really excited to start book 2. I'm not going to start it right away because I'm in the middle of a lot of series, but I really enjoyed it. And it only being 9:30, I definitely have time to either start another book or get a little further in Empire Storms. But this is going to be my last check-in for the night because I'm probably just going to take a book, go relax for the night. But yeah, this will be my last check-in for tonight, but I'm pretty happy with that. So that's 120 pages read, and the weekend's just getting started. Hello, so it's the next day. It's actually getting on 11 here soon. It's like 11:15, and I read 40 pages of In the Quick by Kate Hope Day. So I kind of picked this up on a whim from my TBR shelf. So this centers around a young girl named June who is being raised by her aunt and uncle, and unfortunately her uncle passes away, but he's a sort of like space engineer genius that discovers and creates this new fuel cell fuel energy source that propels spaceships into space. Unfortunately, right before his passing, a new shuttle is launched, energized solely by his invention. He passes away later on, right before reaching Saturn, which is the destination for this shuttle. The energy gives out, and now we are at the point where the comms have given out. So that's just like establishing the story. But the main focus, our protagonist, June, is a very bright young woman who really relied on the relationship with her uncle. With her aunt, not so much. And right after his passing, it's just very clear that her and her aunt don't get on. June is a very energetic and intelligent young child who has essentially no outlets for her inventions and intellectual growth, which creates a lot of problems within the family. So the aunt decides to send June off to a sort of elite schooling system to kind of be rid of her, but also to regain a sense of normalcy after her husband's passing. So that's where we are in the story right now. It is interesting thus far, but I'm kind of just more interested to see where the story goes and what's happening, because where the space shuttle is now, our protagonist is something like 12 years old, so I'm unsure the connection just yet, but I'm gonna keep reading, and that is the update. So I just finished In the Quick by Kate Hope Day, I already explained what the book was about, but I will say what I was concerned about early on about it following like a 12-year-old. I will say that was just part one of the book, but later we kind of do a time skip to when she's 18, has finished the course, and training for the school she enrolled in, and is like a full space engineer, astronaut, and all of that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it was maybe like a 3.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. It was interesting and captivating for most of the way. I mean, it was only 250 pages, so it would be weird if there was a lull. But yeah, it dealt with some things like isolation and unreliable science and discovery in a really fun way. So I enjoyed that. I'm gonna have lunch now and probably pick another book to read. But that's book 2 for the weekend. Alrighty, so I had my lunch and I sat down with Empire of Storms, but I also popped to my bookshelf and picked out a couple of options because I got my pillow situated. I got my blanket down here, so I'm in it for the long haul. So I picked out a couple of books in case I wasn't feeling Empire of Storms. Got a little bit of everything that I could just stack here and pick away at. So first I have Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. This is a middle grade fantasy. I believe it is about a young girl whose brother disappears or dies. I think he dies and she doesn't believe it, and circumstances occur to which she winds up in a magical school or competing to enter a magical school. So I think it'll be really cute. I know a lot of people don't like middle grade, especially as they get older, and I know I certainly did go through that phase, but what I do enjoy about middle grade specifically and adding it to my collection on my bookshelves is picking out wholesome books. First of all, after the year we've had, is nice, but also picking out books with diverse characters and representation, as well as wholesome storylines for when I have kids. I think will be nice that they can just reach under the shelf and pick up something knowing that it has a lot of values that I think I would appreciate my kids getting, picking up through different forms of media. So I'm excited for that one. And then I have 7 by Farzana Doctor. This is a book I picked up from our Own Voices selection at my work. It is about a Indian Canadian woman in 2016 that is going with her husband on a marriage saving life trip to India, and while there she discovers that her rags to riches story of her great-great-grandfather actually involves a mystery of his missing 4 wives. And of course this is intertwined with India in 2016, so this is a time when feminists were rallying and all of that, so that also plays a part in this story, which will be very interesting, and it's a gorgeous cover. And I believe the writer is, it is Own Voices, but I believe she is Toronto-based, which is pretty cool to support Canadian authors. And then, of course, I have Fire by Kristen Kishore. I read Graceland last month. I think it was last month or January. I can't remember yet, but I have this one picked out as well. So I have like a nice little variety here, and worst comes to worst, I won't have to move because I always keep books there as well. So I'm going to get reading and see what piques my interest. I read 30 pages and fell asleep. Alrighty, pardon the silly hair, but Donald's going to game with his baby brother as it's Sunday, so that leaves me to do some reading. I might order myself dinner, have a little me night, do a little face mask. I actually, for the first time in about 2 months have 0 active pimples. It's just something I'm going through in my personal life. Medication I have to take has made this, pardon me, made this happen. So it's not like I'm doing anything different, changing any skincare, anything like that, but it is really nice to see. I never really dealt with acne in my entire life, like not even in my teenage years, not when I started taking birth control. I always would get like 1 or 2 hormonal acne when I would get my period, and that's about it. So seeing myself with acne the past couple of months has been really disorienting, not upsetting. It definitely doesn't upset me. I kind of knew it was incoming with what I was going through, so it's not like it was a super huge deal, but it can be very disorienting to look into the mirror and not directly recognize your face or have something of it changed. But in the grand scheme of things, that was very small, but it is really nice to have it clearing up and no scarring, because I have ICD and it's really hard not to pick at stuff. So I'm gonna get reading. I think I'm gonna just reach for Amari and the Night Brothers. I took the dust jacket off. Look how beautiful under the cover is. It just looks like it's gonna be a sweet ride. So I think I'm gonna do that. I did read 30 more pages in Empire of Storms. I'm really enjoying it, but I am enjoying just picking away at it like while reading other books. So I'm gonna continue to do that. But I think I'm gonna reach for Amari and the Night Brothers. Alrighty, so I just finished my dinner. Donald actually wound up popping off and having dinner with me, which was really nice. But I've read 3 chapters. I'm on chapter 4 of Amari and the Night Brothers. I have a problem. Every time I moisturize, I wind up staining my books because I always forget. I do like the vitamin C oil and stuff like that. But I think it's really cute so far. I'm really enjoying it. So we kind of open up the story with Amari having just gotten into an altercation at her school, a physical altercation, and at which point her mom, who we find it works at a hospital, works 12-hour days, 5 days a week, just at the chance of making a better life for Amari. Her brother had gone missing previous months before, and it's really settling quite heavy on her and is actually the reason for the altercation she gets into at school, when mysteriously she gets a messenger at her door that drops off a briefcase that is from her brother. She then gets a chance encounter with like a hologram of sorts of her brother, introducing her to a flying ship and seemingly a magical world. So it seems pretty cute so thus far. I'm going to go wash my hands so I stop staining my books with oil, and keep reading a little bit tonight. It's a really fast read. I read for maybe 15-20 minutes and I read 20 pages. So it is definitely like maybe if middle grade is like between the ages like 8 to 12, this is definitely more on the 8 to 9-year-old side of middle grade, but it's really cute thus far and I am enjoying it. So I'm gonna get back to reading now. So I forgot to update last night. Hello to Alfie, who likes to sleep right next to my face. I read 100-page, or I got halfway through Amari and the Night Brothers. I'm really enjoying it. It's really, really cute. I'll probably finish it this morning with my coffee. It's a very quick read as it is middle grade. But yeah, it's really cute. She is basically participating within this magic school, and right away they have to pick what career field they want to go into, and she picks the sort of secret agent field that her brother worked in before he disappeared. And upon going into the school, she finds out that her brother is a legend of sorts, with his achievements and etc., etc. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm gonna finish it up here. The winds, I slept so bad. The winds are about 100 kilometers. So I was just up throwing blankets over the guinea pigs and the hamsters. No matter how high we put our heat, it was just cold. You could just feel what felt like an air conditioner coming off our windows, and we have really big windows. It's why I love this place, but it's also like not ideal for storms like this. So just gonna curl up for the rest of the day with Alfie here, do some reading, finish that up, and pull another book to read. Probably won't finish the other book, but I should be able to finish Amari and the Night Brothers, as well as start my third book for the weekend. Alrighty, now looking worse for the wear, I officially finished Amari and the Night Brothers. It was so cute. It was such a nice ending to the first book. Obviously, like, it was a little predictable and just what you would expect for a middle grade, but like the twists that the book did have were sweet, and you can just imagine how, like, what a twist and turn that would be for the age range in which it was geared towards and written for. But I will say, for a main character, Amari is just a wonderful character to have in terms of a protagonist for young children. Very inspiring. She is stubborn, hard-headed, comes across a lot of obstacles that are both rooted in the real world in terms of like poverty, racism, prejudices, and then on the flip side, in the magical world, there being foil characters for her, and just really great lessons to be learned. So I definitely will be continuing the series. I just thought it was so sweet. But for now, I think I'm going to play some Switch before I pick out another book to read. But I cannot say it enough. This is so cute. And hopefully keep filming, but like the lights in our apartment keep like flickering. So we'll see how that goes. But really, really cute. And I can't wait for book 2 to come out. So yeah. Hello. So I had my lunch and I did pick out another book, which is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I will say though, my reading day might have just gone straight down the tube because they added all of the older seasons of Love Island onto my TV. So I did bring this in here, and I have a cute little doggy next to me, so I plan to spend my afternoon in here. I hope I can get some reading done, but honestly, like, as soon as Love Island comes into the picture, I tend to lose all sense of motivations. It's the perfect trash TV. So I did bring this in here. I read officially 1 page, and I have Alfie here with me, who's wearing a donut. He's prone to like nibbling on himself, so sometimes we have to put his donut on. But that being said, I'm going to start watching Love Island and get some reading done. I also put some treatment on my reddened skin that seems to be a little bit irritated. So gonna get some Love Island watching in, and I'll pick away at the Midnight Library as I do so. But I'm excited for this read. I think it's about a young woman who, oh, I don't want to say it unless that is the case. I know she's like on death's door. I want to say that she commits an attempted suicide, winds up in this library, but essentially this library is full of books with your life's possibilities. So every book in the library is filled with, if you made a different choice in your life, how your life would have ended up. So it's a really interesting premise. I love Matt Haig's writing, so I'm excited to give it a go. Plus there's a cute little cat on the front. So gonna watch Love Island and read a little bit more. Alrighty, so I basically wasted the day watching almost an entire season of Love Island. I did skip around a bit, but like, for all intensive purposes, it's 8:30. The last time I checked in was like 2 or 3, so that's where we landed on that. I read 40 pages in the span of like 5 hours. The Midnight Library, I'm really enjoying it so far. I will say, if you're quite sensitive to books dealing with depression or suicide or anything like that, that's basically the focal point of this story. So just be aware of that going in, that this is a young woman who is struggling with depression. She has everything going wrong in her life and decides to make that choice and winds up in the Midnight Library, in which it is filled with books that basically are different choices she could have made in her life to create a different outcome. So I'm gonna keep going with this. I'm going to go ahead and take a bath. I might read some more of this magazine, Breathe. It's my new favorite magazine. But I am gonna take this one into the bath with me and go relax a bit. I close tomorrow, so I don't work until 11:30, so I have loads of time, but I will probably check in tomorrow morning to let you guys know where I finished off. But in total, I'm really happy with what I read. I finished City of Brass, read Amari and the Night Brothers, and have gotten just a little bit into the way of the Midnight Library. But it's still 8:30, so loads of time to go, and I'm going to pop into the bath now and just enjoy the rest of my weekend, and maybe pop on a face mask as there's some irritation coming. But I also ate like chocolate and sweets today, so that's probably why my skin's not super happy with me. But yeah, I'm going to take this and go relax, but I'm enjoying it. It is the next morning and I'm just checking in. I worked today, so obviously not filming a video, but just checking in to say I got to page 70 in the Midnight Library and still really enjoying it. It's still very interesting. Liking the character. She went on her first inside of her first book, so she got to travel to her first regret and discover whether she would have been better off making a different choice, or would she still be unhappy. So really enjoyed it, and that's going to be all for this video. I don't really have an outro, so bye.